I will say good day to each and every one of you this day of your time. How are you? Allow us once again to thank each and every one of you for establishing the link in this way on this day at this time. We would like to take a moment, a brief moment, in this communication to simply outline and reinforce once again the concept of intention as it must be aligned with action and married to lack of expectation. Again, very briefly, this is the triad, the mechanism for remaining in balance, for remaining in your center, for remaining in the present, for living in the now, while at the same time making yourself literally most magnetically attractive to the manifestation of physical reality that will be most highly reflective of your joy. Intention, that you have an idea of who and what ideally you know yourself to be. Action, that you will take your intention and actualize it through physiological action to show through that action that you are willing to be open to the attraction. It grounds the intention. It grounds the idea, locks it in your physiological reality. Your actions are the underscoring of your intention. You can intend something all day long. If you're not willing to show by your actions that you are aligned with that idea, it will remain in the realm of the etheric. And then, as we have outlined from time to time, you must go forward in these actions with the full intention that what you imagine to be true for you is true, but you must have absolutely zero expectation that it has to manifest exactly as you originally thought. This balancing act is what allows you to remain open to the unexpected surprises and expansiveness of the infinite. For in most cases, as we have said, when you insist that the manifestation must occur exactly as you have imagined it, you are actually shortchanging yourself and not allowing the manifestation to come about in a way that might even be far more expanded than you were capable of imagining. So allow yourself to have a healthy dose of the unexpected. Let the unknown be your friend. So that in having full intention and acting in accordance with that intention, being your true self, acting in your excitement, by having no expectation that it must come out that way, you will paradoxically be allowing it the best opportunity to come out, perhaps not only the way you did originally imagine it, in its best possible format, but you will be allowing it to come out perhaps even better than you imagined it by removing those structures of expectation and insistence that you have been taught by your society to utilize. So keep it simple. For the reality is complex, but the mechanism of its creation is simple. Intention, action, no expectation will keep you firmly in the now, in the present, which is where you need to be to receive anything that you could possibly receive anyway. If you're not in the now, if no one is home, when opportunity knocks, you can't be there to receive it. You will not see it. It will be invisible to you. So then, we thank you for allowing us to remind you of this brief description of the mechanism of manifestation. In return for the gift that you are allowing us to experience this communication with your civilization in this way at this time, in return I ask you now, in what way may we be of service to you?
Bashar.
You. Good then.
Hi, Bashar. I have a reason to believe that there's a part of my life that exists as a hybrid Syrian human, perhaps for the spaceship.
You have reason to believe. All right.
Yeah, I think you told me that one time.
Okay.
And I assume that they're interested in me somewhat. And
They are interested in all of you.
Is there a percentage of possibility? What percentage is the possibility that they'll make contact with me here on Earth and perhaps beam me up, take me up there with them?
At this particular timing, you will find it is about 24%.
Is there any way I can increase that?
Live your life. continue to live your life in the fullest possible way, and you will play out all the things that you decided you would play out, thus altering your energy and evolving and expanding toward any such moment you may have agreed to have in your life wherein such a contact would be at 100%. And don't make it your goal, for it's not your goal. Your goal is to be you. That's it. And that goes for all of you. It's the only career, it's the only goal, it's the only purpose any of you have. When you are allowing yourself to fulfill the goal of being yourself, everything else that is reflective of that goal will automatically occur as a natural side effect. You follow?
Yeah, it's just a process of living my life fully.
Yes. And when you do so, then your frequency will match the reality frequency in which such an interaction with a higher frequency consciousness can naturally occur.
Do you have a process you could give me on how to contact them?
I just told you. Use your imagination, for that is what is key to your frequency. Let your imagination be your guide. It will always deliver to you the best methodology at any given moment that will work best for you at that moment. When your frequency changes, the picture in your imagination as to what would work best for you at that moment will also change accordingly. You follow?
Kind of like spotting the edge.
Kind of like, yeah. Does that help you?
Yes, it does, and thank you very much.
We thank you.
Bashar,
Good.
thank you.
Good day.
Good day. It's a joy to be with you today.
And you as well with you.
Thank you. Can you please give me some tips as to how I can access information directly myself? I would like to do that.
Tips.
Well, methods, procedures.
Yes, I understood the connotation. We were just commenting on whether or not you thought perhaps it was a gamble.
I prefer to not look at it that way.
Go on. Again, much of what we have already just said can be applied in your particular case as well. Again, the idea really is to know that you are in connection to all the information you need at any given moment. You have to be discerning about why it is you want to know what you think you want to know, because sometimes you can tell yourself that there may be a good reason, an appropriate reason, for why you want to know a particular thing, and that reason may really have nothing at all to do with what you really need to know at the particular moment. You follow me? So first comes honesty, clarity, internal dialogue with why it is you want to know what you think you want to know. Again, remember, synchronicity is the natural unfoldment of life as you live it. So the idea really is that the more you stay in the moment, living your life to the fullest, the natural synchronicity that results from that attitude and that action of living in the now will bring you all the information you need to live that now at that moment that you are living in. And anything else you need will come in the next moment if you match the frequency of that moment by expanding into it, by living fully in it. Does this make any sense to you as a mechanism?
It does.
There are any number of procedures and processes and methodologies that can be described, but what it all comes down to is recognizing, first and foremost, the recognition itself being the ultimate process, that once you know you are connected to all the information you need at any given moment, that certainty opens you up to receive whatever other information you may need according to how you change in the next given now moment.
So it's a dynamic process.
Yes.
And we can just flow with it in.
Absolutely. It's not really fundamentally as a mechanism something that you need to do in order to get from some assumed here to some assumed there.
That's our traditional process.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the idea is now that you are learning to live more in the moment, you can recognize that everything is here and now, and that the recognition in and of itself of that fact will make a difference in your frequency, which will make a difference in your experience of reality. Does that help?
It helps a great deal.
Why, thank you.
I thank you. Bashar?
You and then you.
Hi, Bashar.
And then you, good day. Number 2, do you know who you are?
Yes.
Thank you.
A very exciting channeling experience on this weekend.
A very exciting channeling experience. All right.
Yes. My friend Dan and I were playing the Ouija board.
Friend man. Yes.
And, yes, he's here.
Yes.
And we seem to contact somebody or something.
Yes.
that was seemed to be giving me energy flowing through my body. It happened twice. The first time was very intense. The second time was extremely intense.
Oh, all right. Well, thank you very much for being so bold.
And it was great. It was incredible experience.
All right.
We attempted to talk to him about what was happening, et cetera, and who it was.
Right.
And the information that we got, a lot of it was, we couldn't really make any sense out of it. But it just said,
Congratulations. Sometimes that is best, so that you do not fixate on too much structure in the process as it unfolds.
So it did say that it was from Mars.
So to speak.
Right.
But not really.
That's what I was thinking. It wasn't really, and that's what I was wondering if you could allow.
Why do you imagine it might have chosen to present itself to you in that way?
Maybe because it's extraterrestrial?
Are you guessing?
Okay. Yeah. Because it's extraterrestrial.
There was extraterrestrial consciousness connected to it, but that's not the whole story.
Okay.
Why do you imagine it would have found it necessary to present that symbol to you?
Well, because,
What does that symbol mean for you?
well, on this planet,
Yeah.
it means, you know, it's sort of a stereotypical idea of where aliens come from.
All right, and therefore it is a fundamental archetypal symbol,
Exactly.
which lets you know that you are at the very beginning of an actual contact.
Oh, right.
You follow?
Yes.
There is more to it than that, certainly. In
Right.
fact, it weaves very strongly for you in terms of many of your alternate reality, what you would call past lives, that have to do with the idea of Martian incarnations when life was possible on that planet, and ancient Egyptian ones as well.
Oh, okay.
Which means that you are, in that act, in that connection, helping yourself to get in touch with a lot of those frequencies that represent those particular lives, so that you can figure out a way to incorporate that energy in your present life to apply it as you wish.
Yeah, well, I've actually...
Of course, the planet Mars, symbolically, is not unlike your big red button.
Right.
Something we have talked about before, for those who are coming in late.
So it also kept going back and forth from the letters A and Z when we asked what its name was.
Yeah.
And it, or ZA. And was that a name, or was it just sort of...
The idea, more likely than not, when individuals often make first contact with some fragment of consciousness through the channeling procedure, is that you will find many of them will connect to a conceptual name that begins with the letter Z. This is usually an indication that what you are first and foremost dealing with, even if you are connecting to another entity, is aspects of your own internal personality structure first.
Okay.
So it's giving you an opportunity to get in touch with all those fragments of your consciousness so that you can integrate them and become more holistic, which, as a process, will allow you to actually get more directly in touch with whatever other entity may be assisting you in doing this.
Right. Right.
Does this make some sense to you?
Yes.
All right. Anything else?
So there was actually a being with assisting me by sending me energy. Was that what we talked about?
Yes.
Okay.
But more the spirit guide type of being. Awakening within you a clearer recognition of some of the energy that is truly your own, extraterrestrial and otherwise. Does that help you? In other words, that being was showing you, that spirit guide was showing you that you have a different flavor than you might have thought. Does this help you?
Yes.
Is that sufficient unto the question asked?
Yes.
Thank you. Number 2.
Hi, Star.
Good day.
There seems to be a theme here tonight.
A theme. Can you describe it? A theme. All right.
And that's why I'm here.
Oh, all right.
And I do know who I am.
Oh, all
And
right.
I am...
Who are you?
I'm having a wonderful time.
That is who you are.
About intention.
Intention.
I know what excites me. And these visitations that I have seem to have different personalities.
Okay.
Um,
Again, you will find this is a typical procedure for getting in touch with the collective fragmentation of your own consciousness as a first major step toward the reintegration of your whole being. It is not that you are not in contact with other entities and spirit levels as well, but the first normal average step will be to be put in touch with all the different fragmentations you have made of your consciousness. and allow you the opportunity to reintegrate those by relating to them archetypally. Do remember that each fragment of your consciousness is truly autonomous. Doesn't mean that they are not real and aware of themselves just because they are fragments of your consciousness. That is what consciousness is. Consciousness is self-aware automatically. But it is simply an extension of the overall idea of your identity that you are first dealing with and being given an opportunity by your guides as well to reintegrate as a first major step towards being capable of interacting with higher levels of consciousness. Does this make some sense to you?
Yes, so these symbols that I've seen,
Yes.
geometric shapes.
Yes. You are, in a sense, playing the spectrum of all different levels of energy, etheric planes, causal planes, mental planes, physical planes, astral planes, so on and so forth, deriving from your mentality different symbols that are utilized to represent the different bandwidths that you are getting in touch with. You are oriented toward the concept of music. So this is like another way for you to learn a different kind of scale. The different symbols are representative of different notes on a different kind of spiritual scale, if you will. Does this help work for you as an analogy to make it clearer?
Yes, it does. But what was the triangle with the three-dimensional triangle with a hole in it that went from a very intriguing...
The tetrahedral structure with the hole is representative of the basic foundational structure of all physiological reality. The whole represents the spiral principle, the activation principle that goes from the intention of the infinite to the activation of the infinite to cause physical materialization. You understand it? It is the energy point at the center of the three-sided pyramid that represents both the structural underlying of physical reality and the activation energy principle that allows that underlying building block of the tetrahedron to be combined and recombined in an infinite number of ways to create an infinite number of physiological universal realities. The whole is where all of them are connected. It is the same whole in all of them. It's similar to the concept that we have described of the prime radiant, the one singular concept of a particle that is the same particle for everything, everywhere, everyone. Does this make any sense to you?
Yes.
Does it help illuminate the idea that you were discussing sufficiently? Or is there some other avenue down which you wish to walk?
Well, I've been exploring light and sound in these interactions.
Yes, all right.
I'm seeing the image of one entity in particular with very bright golden light and very thin angelic feeling.
This is Arcturus energy. You are connecting to the gate of Arcturus, which has to do with rebirthing yourself, realigning yourself, redefining and reorienting yourself so that you will remember more of who you really are. Many of the children being born on your planet now are passing through this Arcturus vibration to also be assisted in remembering more of who they are so that they, regardless of what you teach them, will not forget who they are.
Do I have any agreement to channel?
In a number of ways, yes, although remember that channeling is any fully creative, expressive self. Music is channeling. But in terms of the idea of vocal channeling, do you mean?
Yes.
That's a secret.
I knew you were going to say that.
Well, you see how psychic you are? You're channeling already.
So all the way from San Diego. Oh, my God.
And sometimes I come all the way from Epicon. But it's all here and now. Does that help you?
It does help. Thank you.
Allow yourself more opportunity to remember what that golden vibrational entity feels like. And you will know very quickly in what manner your strongest desire of channeling can be expressed. And remember, it might change. And that's all right if it does. Remember, this is music of a different sort.
I'm getting that.
Yes. Thank you. Yes. Yo.
Hi.
And good day to you.
When I was here last time with my son,
Hey.
at the end of our interaction, you spoke about something shocking that was going to happen.
You don't think I'm going to spill the beans now, do you?
What hasn't already happened?
No.
You think we didn't learn anything? Don't let me hang it. It's like cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. So,
So, have to wait and discuss.
sense.
No. You do not have to wait. You can get on with your life.
Okay.
Yes. The only reason that we were allowed to tell you what we told you was so that all the things you're doing now in your mind will in fact give you an opportunity to look at the thing from a different perspective when it occurs. You follow?
As with everything, I guess.
Yes, but this is a pivotal energy point.
Any time frame?
That did not translate exactly.
Any time frame you can give me on this shocking thing?
Remember that there are many ways to define the word shocking.
Exactly.
One moment. We will see what we are allowed by you to tell you. One moment. All we can tell is that it is most likely to occur within the span of 1 year, although it could happen much sooner. But as we read your energy now, it appears unlikely it would happen much later. One moment. 7 months seems about right, or something that has to do with the vibration of 7, which actually reoccurs in a number of ways in different dynamics within your family, friends, and relations quite often. So look for the 7 more than the concept of the time frame. The 7 will be more of an indication of synchronistic meaning for you and timing rather than the concept of time, which is relative. No pun intended.
All right. Thanks.
Does that help you?
Well, I guess I'm just going to keep going and, it kind of puts a sense of doom in me.
I see. And why did it push that particular button when I said that?
Because I felt like one of my parents was going to die when you said that.
Why did you feel that?
Because that's one of the things I guess I'm afraid of.
Yes.
Yeah.
Why? Are you afraid of that? Yes, you do.
I guess the idea of what I think losing them, although they won't be lost, they'll still be vibrating, they just won't be in their body anymore. And they were here and they're getting older, and so I thought,
Yes, and so.
And so...
Is this an opportunity for you to learn how to celebrate that transition in a different way?
Exactly. And that's something I thought of as I've done the work on myself that I've done through the years, because, it's something you think, oh, when your parents go, then it's a big thing. But I've realized that...
We are not saying that it is not a profoundly impactful event.
Yeah, it's very sad, but it can also be, a chance to contact them, which I've done with friends who have died.
It is also a chance to get in touch with the reflections within yourself that they symbolize and represent about your own fears, about certain dynamics within your own personality structure. Is there any place you would like to take that at this particular...
Well, I'll tell you, it was a very intense visit with my mother.
How so?
She needs a lot of attention, and she's quite unhappy when she's not the center of attention.
Oh, I see.
And it's very difficult to be around that kind of intensity. It was stressful for me, and I was working on being more understanding about it and more unconditional with my love for her.
All right.
But it got,
You can recognize a vibration that is not your preference without judging it and judging yourself in a manner that allows someone else's energy to have an impact on you in a way that you don't prefer.
Right. I would love to be able to understand how she got to where she is.
Why don't you ask?
I have, and she just, she makes everything seem all rosy. Her child, we talked about this before, how we asked her childhood, and she doesn't have any, and I don't know if she knows.
All right. You can understand the general dynamic without necessarily understanding the specifics of the path that she took. And that can be enough.
Yeah.
If you cannot find out any more specific information, then certainly you can understand that there is fear involved, and it is most likely simply because that's what she was taught. To feel less than, to feel less worthy, non-deserving, so on and so forth. Most of you know this, right?
Right.
Well, that's really all it takes to understand sufficiently enough to have compassion.
Yeah. I mean, the compassion comes much easier when it's not right in my house.
Oh, I see.
I have to work on that one, definitely. And it's
All
a
right.
real test having my hair.
All right. Anything else?
So I'd like to talk to you about a couple other things if I may.
All right.
I know I may. So.
Thank you.
The cats,
Cats.
my two cats' health is great now. They are responding to picture of health.
Oh, all right.
And they still can't go outside because of, the possibilities of them contacting something from another cat or infecting another cat with this supposed virus that they both carry.
I see.
But they're both in great shape, and I would love to let them outside. And I'm just wondering if there's any way of you sensing, because the vet can't do a test, but you said the test would always show positive.
You can, if they are willing to ingest it. For a while, give them a little of what you would call the kombucha. You follow?
How much should I give them?
Not more than what you would call a shot glass each a day.
How long can I do this for?
No less than 3 of your weeks. Then see what you pick up.
Okay. Great. I wanted to ask you, you talked to us about the concurrent lives we may have.
That you do have.
That we do have.
Yes.
Like you talked about me being in a lifetime in Chicago
Yes.
and in Spain simultaneously.
Yes.
Do I have another lifetime going on right now?
Yes.
Where is it? Is it Morocco or southern Spain or?
Why did you pick that place?
Because I'm so drawn to that right now.
Really?
Yeah. And I thought I'd go there for Christmas, but it didn't happen this year, and so I want to go there soon.
I see.
But I'm just really drawn to that Moorish idea. That's it, isn't it?
Yes. It's one. You have more.
More?
Many of you have many counterparts in the same contemporary time frame. Split-offs from the same oversoul that you are a projection of are walking around on your planet appearing to be other people. But they are still part of the same soul that you are a projection of as well. This goes for all of you.
Right, okay, so do we often meet?
Sometimes, yes. Sometimes, no. Sometimes you love each other, sometimes you hate each other.
Basically, you never know.
You can know. But more often than not, there is not a reason to know. Because each is autonomous for a purpose.
Right.
And many times the purpose does not contain a need to see the reflection of the other counterpart. At least not in a way that you know that that's what it is. Although, in this transitional age, sometimes you will find more often than not, the idea is that many of them will use your own counterparts to throw the reflection back at yourself as to what it is you can become more truly.
Have I met any of these counterparts in this lifetime?
Yes.
Can we talk about who they might have been?
Your mother is one. What a shock.
Wow.
How does your body temperature feel right now?
Very hot.
Then you have been appropriately shocked. You see, that year went by quickly. We'll let you.
That's a good idea. Thank you very much.
We thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
How are you?
Perfect. And you.
Working on it.
Working on it.
I'm very glad to be here.
Oh, all right. We are very happy you are there.
And thank you for the healing energy that you've been sending my sister. Her doctors can't explain it, and he's going to write an article on her for the medical journal.
Oh, all right.
I told my mother it's really you, and
It is really you, all of you, but you are keying to the vibrational cue we are radiating. But if you don't accept the cue and use your own energy to match the frequency, no effect would be possible. So in that sense, yes, we are sending, but it is all of you that are matching with your willingness to do so that causes the effect you are observing.
my, how modest you are. Thank you.
It has nothing to do with modesty. It has to do with physics.
I understand.
Thanks.
Okay. My high point of excitement right now
Okay.
is a little white kitten that has blue eyes and a club foot.
Oh, right.
And the Flirty family
character right now. And if I have been working with a coyote energy in this community up in the mountains, out of the trunk of my mother's seabird, and
Thunderbird,
yeah.
coyote. All right. Native American symbology is rampant in your life.
Yes, I mean the raccoon energy has come in, the owl energy, and so at any rate, I am now physically in the blue and white house
All right.
with my horse,
All
and
right.
I would like to stay there, even though the energy setup is a little primitive.
All right. But again, the idea is that if that is really the natural reflection of the joy of staying in the moment, then it's not something you have to think about how to do. You just stay being yourself, and it'll be a natural side effect. You don't have to make these kinds of things, any of you, your goal. I would like to stay there. That's just another way of saying, if I am myself, where I am will be the appropriate place. And if that is the place most highly reflective of the vibration of who I am, then I can be nowhere else but there. But if I do find myself somewhere else, I know it will be reflective of who I am at that moment, and so that will be perfect. And that is how you allow yourself to attract the appropriate place and the appropriate time. Simple as that. You don't have to work on the idea of wanting to be there, wanting to stay there.
Okay.
These are superfluous details.
There's an upset with some people in the community regarding...
Stop.
Okay. Yeah, I don't want to engage that in.
Thank you.
Okay.
Stay with the energy of your joy. When you kept it on that level, then is when the vibration of everything works harmoniously. As soon as you start going into their territory and playing by their rules, you are leaving your home ground.
I know.
All right.
Could you say something about this little kitten? She's just amazing.
She is inspiring you to stay where you live. Thump, thump. In your heart.
Okay.
That's where you live.
Okay, and then very quickly, my horse was in a tremendous, exciting accident in August, and 40 people rescued him and got him in the paper and all that. His shoes, he was hot.
Jack,
His rear feet seemed to be sore.
don't focus on that. You are focusing on the peripheral details. The event that the horse brought about is a direct symbol for you of how the community can support you when you allow yourself to be naturally who you are. That's the focal point of the event, not the horse's hocks. That you focus on that gives you a better understanding of how often you will choose to look at the edges instead of the heart of the matter. The horse has a huge heart in more ways than one.
Oh, I know.
That's the lesson. Stay there.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bashar.
You! And then you! Two, do you know who you are?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, all right. Good day.
Thank you, sir. I'm in a laughing mood.
Oh, all right. Go right ahead and laugh.
Well,
I don't hear any laugh.
but it's just not coming out.
Oh, all right.
You know, vocally and whatever, audibly. Anyway, I had an interesting dream a little while back.
Oh, all right. Do share, do define.
Okay, I'll try to go through this pretty quickly.
Don't try, do so.
Okay. Driving around, I see this old mansion that's for rent, and it's run down. The side of it is in good condition.
Yes.
I go in to see it, and it's similar to a museum of where they kind of stacked and kept a lot of furniture in there and
All right.
relics.
Yes. And so?
And so I went and rented it, and I kind of asked about where I could put my stuff, and that was the wrong thing to say to the lady. And she said, you're going to need, I started to leave, and she said, you're going to need $5 because your car's going to break down.
All right.
And I was like, $5. And I looked at it, and I knew it was like telepathy, that I knew that she was connecting with me.
That phrase is a loose translation of the idea that you're going to have to rely on your humanity and your senses because the mode of your vehicle is going to change.
My vehicle as my body?
Your vehicle as your way of doing things.
Okay. So that's nice. Okay, so then it jumps to
Yes.
it's kind of a mansion on the sea, and there's this little house, this little playhouse,
Yes.
and I go next door to go into it, and I have to crawl in because I can't sit through the doors, but the ceilings get higher, and I thought, well, this must be where the second door is.
All right.
Very funny. Anyway, so this thing starts to turn down and to dive into the ocean, and I thought,
What thing?
the house, the round cylinder,
Oh, right.
the seven-door house,
Yes.
turns into dive into the ocean, and I thought, oh, I have to hurry up and take a deep breath because so I don't drown. And so then I was trying, I got through the door and I was swimming, and they were chasing me.
Yes.
Someone was chasing me.
You understand that you are now mixing your experiences in one dream. This is an overlay of an actual interaction with another species. You were in a ship, those beings are small, you experience being immersed in liquid for the transition to their dimension, for it acts as a buffering mechanism. In this dream, you're simply recalling bits and pieces of different kinds of experiences and different kinds of integrational psychological ideas, and you incorporated them all into one dream.
Okay, so
But that means you are waking up in a different way, that you remember these things and put them all together. Because as you recognize that the mansion no longer serves you in this sense, that it is old and dilapidated, as you change the structure of your being and recognize that you fit in a different structure, as you change your modality, your vehicle, your way of doing things, you are waking up and remembering more of the different kinds of interactions that have actually gone on in other dimensions of reality with you. That is primarily and fundamentally what this quote-unquote dream was about.
okay, I was putting down the different interactions.
Yes,
And
making your own mosaic.
right. Reality weaver.
Yay! Once
So,
again,
Yeah. So
as your future self does.
yes. This is kind of when I see this in a card.
Yes.
Also, just at the very end of that dream, I was very, very scared that someone was going to jump to someone and stab me with a knife.
Yes.
And I was running, and someone got to that person instead, and they stabbed him in his mouth.
Yes.
And so I threw up that it was this really thin, thick red goo that was like continuously pouring out of me.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden they were as if they were clapping like, that's right, that's a good job.
Yes.
Like they
Again, the idea is to
performance.
recognize that this is an induced scenario
Right.
to allow you to go through an experience that would allow them to see how you would do with all the concepts going on in that scenario, how you would handle it and process it emotionally, intellectually, symbolically, so on and so forth, to see if the adjustments that are being made in your frequency are, in a sense, sticking.
Okay. Well, that was, pretty gross.
If you say so.
Yeah, for me it was.
Oh, all
Where
right.
I was. Okay, lastly, I just wanted
It is only a releasing of old ideas that would now be toxic to your system.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, great. Good.
You are replacing your life's blood, so to speak.
Well, I wanted to ask myself, and
Yes.
ask you, and ask Regina,
Yes.
to, you can push me all you want as far as the class and anything else, but I'm giving you permission if you would like to.
Are you sure about that?
Absolutely positive. And I asked myself that.
Oh, all right. Would you just do us a favor and remember whenever you feel it is appropriate to remember? Will you?
Yes.
You asked for it.
Oh, okay.
All right?
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Number 2.
Oh,
Good day.
oh, okay, how are you?
Perfect, and you.
No, I'm transitioning.
So, what's wrong with that? Transition is, in and of itself, a perfect state unto its own definition. Is it not? In your reality defined that way?
It doesn't,
You know better than that. Remember that feelings are secondary reactions to something you have already defined as true. So if it doesn't feel that way, you're not defining it that way, and that's why it doesn't feel that way.
So,
Remember? Are you back in kindergarten all of a sudden?
it seems like it.
All right, that's all right. If there are different issues you have not yet applied these processes to as you have in other areas, You may experience what will appear to you to be starting from scratch, as you say in your language, but that's all right. The same mechanisms that work for you in other arenas of your life work here if you give yourself a moment of pause to remember that you're supplying the meaning to a neutral circumstance. All right?
Okay.
Work with that.
Okay.
Work with that.
Can you
Work with that. We'll get back to you later.
Bashar.
You!
I was wondering if-
Good day, good day.
I've been thinking about this after that question. I was wondering if it's
You as well. All right.
I was wondering if it's similar to a computer, a universal computer.
It will work for you perhaps as an analogy.
Is it a physical, an actual physical place?
Not really, but you can experience it that way. And when you choose to experience it that way, then in that moment, it is a real physical place. Remember that reality is only what you concoct it to be anyway. To ask if the Akashic Records is a real physical place is simply to wonder whether or not you can impose that framework on it, which of course you can. And it is no less real than whatever it might be when you're not imposing it. It is a state, like anything. Like any reality, it's a state of awareness. It's a state of consciousness. The definition of which is that it simply contains all the information you could possibly need in a given moment. It is that state of being in connection with all that is, or whatever, quote-unquote, portion or perspective of all that is, that serves the particular portion or perspective you are being at that moment. You can experience it in any way, shape, or form that you want to. Remember that when we gave you the exercise of walking through the Akashic Records as if it were a city made out of crystal, that is real, but it is also only an analogy. It is only a creation in your consciousness, but that's what reality is. You understand?
Yes.
Does it help clarify the concept to some degree?
Yes.
Does it help clarify why the question you asked really can be both yes and no?
Yes, it does.
All right. Anything else?
Yeah, I was wondering at the time that you are in your in parallel time and Earth, what is exactly happening on Earth at that time?
Humans and hybrids live side by side. Earth is a member of the Association of Worlds. There are the comings and goings of many different kinds of extraterrestrial species on your planet. There are many different interactions between your beings and spirit reality. There are very few structures, except some that have been preserved for the sake of interest and curiosity. There are many other things happening. Is there some specific avenue you wish to go down? This is an approximation of what you would recognize as about 300 years in your future.
The people living in much lighter, in a much lighter relationship.
It is full fourth density reality, yes.
Thank you. And I do have a dream I'd like to ask about. I was, as if in a group, asked to make a choice.
About what?
Well, I couldn't remember what the choice was about, but what I showed was three serpents and something similar to a frog.
Three serpents and a frog.
And one of the serpents and the frog kind of fell to the side and they looked very much like regular snake and regular frogs. But two of the serpents turned into sparkling with diamonds, kind of creatures. One was white with sparkling diamonds, the other one was pink. And they wrapped themselves around me.
Yes.
And their heads kind of like came on either side of my head, and I felt like in amazing costume. And I got information that I was remain very, very still.
Yes.
And that on all accounts I must not be afraid, and that I should...
Adjustments were being made in your DNA structure. This is how you symbolically interpreted that particular experience on that level.
Okay. It was very comforting.
Yes. You understand the symbology of the snakes in that way with the DNA spiral?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Does that?
Thank you.
Bashar. Bashar.
Greetings.
Yes.
Male or female?
One and then two.
How about me?
And then three.
I'll be 4.
3 for now. 1, 2, 3.
Okay.
Good day, good day.
Good
Good
day.
day.
Good day.
Now that's not.
I would like, yes, first and foremost, to tell you myself that, yes, whatever it takes for me to return to self, I want you to push my button as well, whatever it takes.
All right, we will get our finger ready.
And of course,
We believe we heard that word before.
what word?
Woo.
It's translated. Well, I guess I knew that. But I want to ask you about that. What is it in me that is in the way of me remembering? I ask to remember.
The suggestions that you are given many times have purpose in that you don't remember. You are given suggestions not to remember.
Mm-hmm.
And there are many reasons that you yourself would actually agree with for forgetting.
Is it possibly painful?
Not so much that. Some of it is simply that in being made to ostensibly on one level forget, then you are allowed to simply be your natural self as your life unfolds, and that other concept, another experience, doesn't inhibit or impede your ability to naturally move ahead spontaneously. Another reason is that there are individuals on your planet that would have the ability to access information that would not be to the best benefit of your world for them to access. And so you are made to forget so that those individuals on your planet cannot access the experience you have had. For they would use it in a detrimental and negative way.
To me.
To your people. In general.
Who are these people who would do that?
They are autonomous factions of your world that are recognized often by what you would call clandestine activities.
That didn't translate. CIA?
Thank you.
CIA, they're mentioning CIA and people like that. Okay. Okay, they could access my memory?
They have the technology to do so.
Oh.
And thus many of the experiences are cloaked with suggestions that you will not remember, so that that information or that experience cannot be used in a detrimental way on your planet.
Could they tell us who it is?
Which they?
Secret cover up people?
Yes,
Bad boy.
they could.
I'll look at it.
They can tell that there is information therein. They can also tell that it has in some sense been encrypted or encoded in a way that they cannot access.
We got that technology from the Greys, though, right?
And it was developed in other ways, but yes, some of it came from some of those interactions, yes.
Okay. So,
Anything else? Number one?
yeah, yes. So, okay, are they still mostly the Greys that I'm interacting with?
In general, although there are others. You have many other different kinds of connections as well. We will go into them at some other time,
Syrian and Arthurian, right?
as we have already mentioned, but there are a few others as well.
Okay.
One moment. You are also one of us in our contemporary time frame.
Thank you, Bashar. I asked you that before, and you didn't have that information. I asked you,
Yes.
what do I do on your planet?
Now is the time.
I knew you.
Now is the timing for you to awaken to more of that connection.
Okay.
Does this serve you?
This, sir?
Then pleasant dreams.
Can I ask a couple other questions?
Oh, I suppose you could.
And I shall have questions.
And they will be interesting as well.
Thank you.
I'll have nothing to do with it. At least not that.
Sometimes
sometimes, well, I didn't notice it before, like, almost a year ago, not quite a year ago. But I was looking at the star series, and it started to dance. The stars dance. If I look at the stars, they dance. Now, maybe other people know of this phenomenon.
Sometimes it will simply be a matter of the idea of your eye motion creating that illusion.
Okay.
Sometimes it will be an aberration of the atmosphere as the light passes through it.
Really?
Yes. More often than not, you will find that will simply be a nervous reaction of the eyeball.
Okay. And I want to get back to, a few months ago we were talking about corn, how it's both of this world and not of this world.
It is a hybrid.
And tell me, so it's beneficial for us to eat it? There are beneficial things?
If you are aligned with certain frequencies, yes. For individuals who may be going through certain processes that are not aligned with that frequency, no, it would be detrimental. But you are aligned.
Thank you.
And that is another very strong clue for another energy you can access from another angle altogether.
Yes, and I am looking into eating, like some corn comes de-germed and
Yes, but we're not really now talking about the corn specifically. We're talking about the energy that the corn symbolizes to you and has for many lifetimes.
Yes. Any more clues in that direction? Because I feel like that's your concept.
It starts with the letter K. Do you know it? Which do you prefer, Kachina or Kelsey? Anything else?
Yeah. I have questions on how you scan the energy. How do you see it? I wonder when you scan energy. I would like to scan energy. I would like to be telepathic.
You are. All of you are.
Yes.
Remember, telepathy is an vibrational identification. The more that you are in love with all things, the more synchronous and harmonious you will be with them, and you will know them. In that sense, then understand, to love them is to know them. You understand? That's how it works, and that's why we say it is not telepathy, it is telepathy. Make sense to you?
Makes a lot of sense.
Telepathy.
No, telepathy is vibrational.
Is a vibrational identification.
It makes me want to already read to you my story of my interaction.
You may do so at some time in the future. Fine! Number 2.
Sure.
Good day.
Good day to you. Thanks for this wonderful interaction.
And you as well.
I was watching television probably a couple weeks ago, and there was a documentary on the history of rock and roll.
History of rock and roll. All right, understood.
And I saw the documentary footage of an event called Woodstock.
Woodstock. All right, understood.
It took place in 1969.
Understood.
Scanning human consciousness at that time, could you sort of discuss or shed some insights on what you thought that was all about, Woodstock?
It was the beginning of a cycle that will have its polar opposite in your upcoming year, of course, as you already know. 69, 96. In other words, the idea is that as you began that cycle of energy back then, of what you would recognize as freedom of choice, will begin to play a much more important role in your realities in 1996 as you count time. There will be a further breakdown of many of the structural institutions around the world that are representative of lack of freedom of choice. Thus, 96 will be a pivotal point of acceleration of the breakdown of old paradigms and structures on your planet.
One more quick question. As I'm beginning to meditate more and trust my intuition.
Oh, thank you so very much.
I'm beginning to have visions of being a young child, and there was this beautiful willow tree by our house, and I can remember now, I'm not sure if I'm seeing lights, I'm not sure if there were interactions, I'm not sure if there were extraterrestrial meetings or something.
Yes.
Could you maybe define what those are?
They were interactions, and you are beginning to remember. This is true. We thank you.
Thank you.
Number 3.
Good day, Sean.
And good day to you.
I'm going to start off.
You go right ahead. That's a good place to begin.
A couple of weeks ago,
Yes.
during meditation, I got in touch with the energy of a male child named Samuel that I bore at 12 years ago.
Oh, right, yes.
And
Still acting as a spirit guide.
still acting as a spirit guide, yes. I would like to know if his energy has been reincarnated into a present life.
Again, remember that the concept of spirit existence and incarnation is a simultaneous phenomenology. You will forever be capable of contacting the entity in spirit, even if they have experienced the concept of, quote-unquote, reincarnation, because reincarnation is a fallacy. It is multiple simultaneous incarnation. And every entity is its own discrete autonomous entity, and it isn't exactly the same entity having another life. It is a completely new projection and creation of the oversoul to which both of those physical entities belong. So, to answer your question, yes and no. The entity is in fact 12 years old, and still accessible in spirit, simultaneously. Wisconsin is where the child is. A boy of 12.
Right. And, I know his name. Bashar.
One moment. Yes. Although you may find that there is also another name, we do not know if it is a family name associated with the first name of Samuel. We do not know if the Samuel is the last name, but there is another name associated that would be in your vernacular Toby.
And when I made the contact with the energy,
Stop. One moment. Do you have, in your culture, familiarity with what you would call an art form known as comic book? Do you have a favorite one? Have you always had a favorite one?
no, I know comic books, but I don't read them currently.
I did not say currently necessarily. Did you have, in your youth, any particular attraction or affiliation?
I have, yes.
What? Who?
It's Calvin. It's a little kid, Calvin and Hobbes.
Every time you thus read, you are making a strong connection to the incarnated Samuel and to the spirit as well. It is a symbol being reflected by that entity as containing the appropriate vibration to make a connection between all three. You, the incarnated version, and the spiritual version as well. Spirit will use any device that works.
Right. And I know that I can now contact the spirit telepathically. If I want the connection,
The connection is always there. If you want to be aware of it, you can be.
exactly. The other thing
Yes.
that I would like to ask you is, through my own growth,
Yes.
I have affected certain fears onto my dog, and she would get these eye infections. And I had talked to you about an infection that I actually had on my eye
Yes.
that my dog was reflecting a couple of months ago.
Yes.
That went away, and in the last 10 days, my dog has got another eye infection.
Yes.
And
This may simply be your repetitive methodology for seeing in a new way. You may simply be using the same mechanism over and over again to see new things, and the animal is reflecting for you that aspect of the energy that perhaps would manifest in you in that way were the animal not siphoning it off for you and allowing you to benefit from the more positive side of that mechanism. You understand?
yes, but
Yes.
I had Gary do kinesiology on me in the class the other night.
Gary, yes.
And What he said that I was holding on to was a dogmatic idea
All right.
that was something of my older sister, I believe.
Which would be what?
How
do you feel about your older sister? How do you relate to her? What do you define your relationship to be to her?
In the past,
Yes.
as children, we didn't have a relationship.
You had some kind
Right,
of
it was
relationship.
good.
Even if it involved never speaking, that's the relationship.
Yeah. I don't want to go as far as saying it was hateful, but we didn't enjoy each other.
You were displeased with each other.
Right.
Well, that was
Yeah.
intensely displeased.
And now in the present,
Okay.
we love each other, and I feel a lot of joy being with her.
Is there any resentment?
She has been resentful of me. Yeah.
Are you resentful she resents you?
I mean, I don't feel I'm resentful. I might.
What are you then? Yes.
That I'm hurt by it. I see it as a rejection.
In what way hurt?
As a rejection.
A rejection. All right. Resentment, rejection.
Right.
Why do you feel rejected? Do you feel rejected now? Are you saying that you feel rejected because of how she behaved toward you in the past?
Yes.
She no longer behaves that way toward you.
Absolutely. And I don't feel rejected. I'm saying in the past that
Yes.
that is what I could have.
But you do not feel rejected now.
No, not
Do you feel that she holds any resentment now?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. One moment. And your mother? Is that a different story?
Yes.
Part of it is that the sister does to some degree reflect some of the attributes of your mother to you. You are clothing her lightly, but still doing it in the guise of your mother in certain circumstances where you are triggered to do so. That is what you need to see. That's the dogma that is being
I'm not surprised because when he did the kinesiology, I said to Gary, if I'm holding on to any belief that doesn't serve me, it would be a belief of my mother.
all right.
Or so.
Then when you get in touch with that, you will then allow yourself more opportunity for more delightful super eyes. Okay.
One last
One last thing.
thing.
Here we are at the end of creation.
No.
One last thing. The omega of existence itself. Everyone pay attention. This is the last thing that's ever going to happen anywhere at any time. Yes. Well, this is the last time you're going to be in this moment. So what I am saying is that...
Bashar,
Yay!
in high school.
High school. Are you talking about the one you all attend when you dream, or the one on Earth?
Yeah, on the one on Earth.
Oh, all right.
As a child, I always felt
Feel.
Yeah. That I would wake up in the middle of the night, and I would have a sense that there was something in the room.
Yes.
And now I know that it probably was.
And still is.
And still is.
Yes.
And that experience always stayed with me.
And so it stays.
And still it stays. In high school, I
Hey.
gave myself a pen name.
Pen name.
Yes, that writers use.
Yes, I understand. And so it was, or is.
And I created a name called Tamara E. Santis. And what it stood for was the knowledge that there was always a tomorrow.
Yes.
The E was for eternity, and tomorrow was to represent tomorrow.
Yes.
And Santis was to represent myself as a dreamer.
You mean
Creating.
Santa C.
And that is the name that I wrote by. And I just realized recently that I had that information
Yes.
at such a young age.
Yes.
And I felt
You all do. But very very often, no offense, your high school drums it out of you.
Well, this is what happened. I feel like now I'm like going back to the knowledge.
The real
knowledge.
high school when you dream.
And
You all attend classes, often in your dreams. You might call it a re-education program.
The thing is, I've asked for conscious participation.
You will eventually get it when it is appropriate to your own agenda.
Okay. I have had the feeling
Yes.
that I have been impregnated and have had positive children.
Oh, you've had that feeling?
Yes.
Well, tell me, what does that feel like?
It's very strange because I felt as if my body was pregnant.
Yes. And so?
So it's a disconcerting feeling to feel that your body's pregnant and then it's not.
Why is that disconcerting?
For me, I guess because my life experience to have children and I haven't physically
All right.
had that.
But it gives you an opportunity to get in touch with the ones, in fact, that you have had, that do not reside with you on the planet, that you will meet again, as many of you will.
And can you tell me how many I have had?
There are variations of genetic material that have been utilized for the procreation of different hybrid beings, but in terms of the ones that contain the most approximation of your genetic material, the ones you would more or less recognize as your own, 5. One moment. Remember, just as an aid and an assistance to you, we understand the process that you are, in fact, experiencing. At the same time, you can remember that everything going on in your life is a part of the orchestration that will eventually make sense to the you are becoming. And as part of the overall orchestration, when you allow yourself to realize that, you will not become disconnected from your concert. All right? Thank you.
Bashar.
Good guy.
Hi, how are you?
Perfect. And you?
Pretty good.
Pretty good. All right.
Well, I've got a couple questions. One, I've never asked this before, but I think it's time. The right timing.
Oh, all right. If you insist.
Oh, that's it.
Thank you.
I have seen for a number of years, at the corner of my eye, a woman in my large mirror in my dining area. I think she was at my other apartment in the same mirror, but I don't remember. It's been a while. And the interesting thing is that I've been thinking about this mirror because I had it made a certain shape. Yeah, I think it's 8-sided. Like 1, 2.
Are you saying octagonal?
Yes,
Hexagonal.
I think that's what it is. You figure that out, I'm pretty sure it's 8 because they did it incorrectly to what I told them, but it turned out that it has a lot of, I guess, metaphysical spiritual meaning. So I guess it's probably the 8 one.
Oh, all right, if you guess.
Well, anyway, that's just a little extra.
Oh, thank you.
I had it specially made. It's like has bevel glass and smoking around the edge.
And mirrors are very strong trigger tools for the psychic energy of most of you to help put you in touch with the spirit realm. Yes.
Well, the interesting thing is me and this, being in metaphysics and having channels, and all that.
Oh, all that.
And I find that I've been afraid of this figure I see, so I have to pretend like it's not there.
What is it that you are afraid of?
At the moment, I thought it's me.
Yes, so what are you afraid of within yourself?
Well, I don't know if it is me, but that's the feeling I got, so I guess it must be so.
It is you. What are you afraid of? What are you afraid to see within yourself?
Oh, lots of things, I guess.
Oh, lots of things. Oh, all right. Name one.
Well, on the positive side, I'm afraid to see my self-worth.
On the positive side, I am afraid to see my self-worth. We have to take a moment to make sure that we have translated that correctly.
Well, self-worth being a positive thing as well.
Yes, I understand.
Yeah, okay, well, I'm glad.
Why are you afraid to see your self-worth? Or if I may really turn this around in another direction,
Okay.
if you're afraid to see it, how do you know you have any?
That's the whole thing.
Yes, I know.
That's the whole thing.
How do you know you have any to see? Is that what you're actually afraid of? That if you look for your self-worth, you might actually find out you don't have any? Is that what you actually mean?
Oh, Bashar.
Oh, what?
Why don't I have to go to therapy now?
You are in therapy right now.
No, that's what I mean. It's like that you just really hit the nail on the head.
Why, thank you.
I am terrified. I have no value whatsoever to
Well, you know what?
Mhm.
If that were fundamentally true, you and I wouldn't be having this conversation because you wouldn't exist.
You've told me that once before.
Yes, of course you have to tell it to yourself for it to have any meaning.
Right. So this woman is...
So why are you motivated to believe that you are unworthy?
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I do know.
Yes. What motivation? What do you get out of perpetuating a belief you don't prefer?
I can't shine. I can't.
And if you don't shine, then what?
I don't know.
Is it all hinged on the idea, again, that you are afraid to find out that if you allow yourself to be you, that still you will not be validated?
I don't get that. I'm sorry.
If you allow yourself to shine, are you afraid no one will see you? Are you afraid you won't really shine?
Yeah, I think that's more...
All right, again, same mechanism. But what motivates you to think that way? What do you get out of remaining in that state? You must be getting something out of it, or you wouldn't be motivated to be in that state.
Figure is it comfortable.
All right, more comfortable than what you think it will take to shine, which means you have a definition that shining is difficult. Who taught you that?
I guess all the people that I've looked up to, you know, and respected and thought were these great, magnificent expressions of life, looked like they worked damn hard and put a lot of effort, energy into it, and were in a public eye all the time, and judged all the time. I mean, that's all this.
So what attributes are you connecting to your ability to shine that are attributes you don't prefer to have, but are assuming you must have if you shine?
Yeah, run that by me again.
What attributes that you observe in them that you think go hand in hand with shining that you don't want to have and think you have to have if you shine? Because you can define shining however you wish to. You don't have to have attributes that you don't prefer just because other people who shone had them.
I guess it's all this damn hard work, you know, years and years before they actually became these people that everybody respects and they've had a, you know, like you think of Lincoln, you know, Abraham Lincoln. I mean, he lived, you know, poor and he went through all this hard stuff, you know, it's just like, and then finally he got respected and admired, you know, just anybody like that.
Why do you care?
Why do I care?
Yes, why do you care so much? That's the difficulty. You care too much that that's what you think you need.
I care too much.
About those things. About being recognized.
About being recognized?
Yes. You don't allow yourself to recognize yourself
Right.
because you care too much about being recognized.
Right.
That's the paradox.
It is a paradox because low self-worth is the very reason why somebody would care so much about what other people think.
No,
And being
it's the
recognized.
other way around.
Okay.
Caring too much about being recognized is what generates low self-worth.
Well, how do you break... I'm sorry, cutting her. How do you break the frickin' pattern of that?
It's the same way you break the fracking law. It begins with self-realization. Again, you get to the heart of the definition itself. You get to the understanding that you are motivated. It's a choice. Once you begin to understand it's a choice, you begin to question what the motivation is for making that choice. You begin to redefine your basic principle, definitional parameter, your fundamental one about what you have given meaning to and how you might like to change the meaning in everything that you know. So you go back to zero. You grow up all over again. You raise yourself from scratch. Start with zero, blank. Nothing has any meaning. Zero. No meaning built into it at all. Everything is neutral, neutral, neutral. Then you decide from moment to moment, each little thing, each big thing, each component you create, each and every detail you discover you have given meaning to, ask yourself if the meaning you have assigned is the meaning you prefer to assign. And start to recognize that only the meaning you have assigned is what creates the effect you are getting and the feedback you are feeling. So, zero it out, flatten it all out, neutralize it. No meaning, nothing means anything in particular. They are devoid of meaning. They are shells, props, illusions, ethereal phantasms of an idea, of a concept, of a notion. Is that vague enough for you?
Oh, it's great when you do it. And
Listen to yourself now. You can only be experiencing what I am saying if you are creating me in your reality to say it to yourself. So you are doing this. You are saying this to yourself. You are not experiencing me directly.
Right.
You are creating your version of me in order to give yourself permission to be powerful enough to know what you know you want to be true.
You said that to me once before.
You said it to yourself.
I said it to you once, I remember, which is to myself, that I feel like when I'm in your presence, I give myself permission to look at things in a different perspective than I normally do.
And the idea, therefore, is that you're doing it. It's your energy you're feeling. It's your presence you're feeling. Whatever it is you are assigning to me is actually yourself, because that's the only way you could be perceiving it in the reality you are.
You see, that's great, because how I perceive you, which is a reflection of myself, we're saying here, is that I think so much of you, and I have such love and such a bond, and I just...
Then you do, in fact, think that way about yourself, but you have created a mechanism that makes it appear to be indirect.
Right.
Allow it to be the direct mechanism it is. The way you say you feel about me is the way, at your core, you actually believe to be true about yourself. All you have to do is recognize that that's what you're doing.
Right.
It is a definition, and a definition of reality only, that makes it appear to be an indirect recognition of yourself through me, apparently. Now allow it to be a recognition of yourself transparently. Transparent, not through me, apparently, but of yourself directly, transparently.
Without needing to put it something else.
Yes, without projecting it out there to me, because there's nothing out here. This is a mirror. A mirror. Reality is a perfect mirror. Perfect. 100% perfect mirror. A perfect reflection. What that means is there's nothing out here. Just like a glass mirror contains none of the light. It's all reflected back. That's why there is a reflection. Because the mirror holds on to none of it. It directs it all directly back at you. Showing you who you are, what you look like. So, that's what this is. You are looking in a mirror. If you see me, and you see that I am capable, and I am loving, and I am confident, you are looking in a mirror. All you have to do is wake up to that fact. And you will recognize that everything you have ever felt about me, you feel about you. And that is true. Just as true as anything else you have ever felt.
It seems for me that I only allow myself...
It does not seem anything you choose.
Okay.
That's
I have allowed myself only at certain circumstances, at certain times, to be able to see that.
Yes. But there you are. You have solved it in that sentence. I have only allowed. Well, if that's true, which it is, then why not allow something you prefer? Because when you recognize that it is because you have allowed it, you are in control of what you experience. And therefore you can experience what you prefer by allowing that.
So,
Yes.
I
If
have...
you want to keep talking to yourself, go ahead.
That's fine. I'll talk to myself. I live alone. I do it a lot. I have explored these concepts in different times, different levels,
Yes.
and I found like that
Found,
issue
yes.
still
You are choosing.
choosing.
Choosing. There is nothing any of you do but by choice. It is that you can create in your reality what might appear to be an unconscious choice, but once you recognize the reality, once the reality is being reflected back to you by the perfect mirror of nothingness around you, it is conscious. No longer a habit.
So why does it seem so hard and so scary to me?
Because it's your definition. It's your definition. It's your choice of definition. Why does the sky look blue? Why does any object look the color that it does when you hold up a red glass or a blue glass or a yellow glass and look through it? Why do things look yellow? Why do things look red? Why do things look blue?
So you're saying I've defined this process as something hard and scary.
Exactly. And that's all it is a definition. But a definition is reality.
Right.
Therefore it has weight, it has solidity, it has momentum, it has inertia. It has parameters that you have allowed it to have because of your definition. But that's the only reason it has them. There is nothing inherently real about the circumstance. It is only definitionally real. But that's what reality is.
I remember a long time ago you told me that, I think it was my work situation, you were saying that the only reason that it was that way is because I believed like it was carved in granite, that it had to be that way. Nothing's carved in granite, nothing's carved in stone.
Nothing's carved anywhere.
Right.
Except in your consciousness.
I got that. That's so funny because the reason I got up a lady in the mirror is I wanted to bring up something light and not as heavy as the other thing I was going to bring up, and it turned out to be...
This is all made of light. What's your definition? You have just given it right there. Wait.
Right.
You have just defined this as heavy. This is a very light conversation for us.
Oh.
And by us, I mean you and I.
Oh. Okay. I like that.
Then believe in it by believing in yourself. Thank you. Well put.
Sure.
Sufficient unto the moment.
Bashar.
You.
Greetings.
Not you.
Oh, okay.
You.
Good day.
And good day to you.
The first time I'm communicating with you physically.
Well, we thank you for allowing us to communicate with you in this way for the first time.
Thank you. I'd like to know if you could give me some information about your relationship with Jeff.
What do you define your relationship with this Jeff individual to be?
At the moment, in a state of breaking up or having broken up.
Is that one of the 50 states of your country? Perhaps the 51st?
I think it's a state of relationship.
All right. Breaking up. What is it that you have learned about yourself in the relationship? Because that's what the relationship is for. That's what all relationships are for. To learn more about who you are and become more of yourself. So what have you learned about yourself in this relationship?
That I have been operating a great deal of not conscious place.
All right. Is that something that you prefer to continue to do?
No.
All right. Thank you very much. Are you now saying that you have the opportunity to recognize that there are different things that you may prefer than you used to?
Yes.
Do those things that you now prefer make it seem that the relationship as it was is now more incompatible?
Well, that's where it's confusing for me because...
In what sense?
There are certain things about the relationship that have definitely been not comfortable, not pleasant, not enjoyable.
Yes. So?
There are other things that show up periodically about the relationship that are absolutely phenomenal.
Do you know what the word holistic means?
Yes.
Do you not think a relationship should be holistic?
Yes.
The idea is that you can certainly serve each other by reflecting to each other the opportunity to become more of yourself and to change should each person in the relationship choose to change. But you can also arrive at a recognitional level in any relationship where you might in fact recognize that the vibration of one individual and the vibration of another individual is no longer synchronized. If you come to a place where you recognize that you have gone beyond your preferential level of reflectivity in helping the other individuals have time to change or get in touch with what they need to get in touch with to make certain changes to become more harmonious, and you've gone beyond that threshold, then your duty to yourself and your duty to the other individual and your duty to the relationship, truly out of love, is to be your true self and allow the consequences of that truth to allow the relationship to change in the way that it must change, which is the way it will actually serve all the individuals involved. And to recognize that an individual relationship that does not contain things that are representative of your preference and does not contain an opportunity to work with those things within the threshold of your preferential modality is not a holistic relationship anyway. If you are not you, and that individual is not who he is in truth, you're not in a relationship with him anyway. You follow? So the idea is to recognize that if that individual did change to become more synchronized and harmonious with your preferences and vice versa, you wouldn't really be the same people anyway, would you?
Right.
So what difference does it make whether it's actually physically another person that comes into your life or not? Because if another person comes into your life and they are reflective of an energy that you feel more compatible with, believe me, you won't care that it's not Jeff.
Right.
You understand? Be yourself, or there is no relationship. And if that individual does change, he is a different person.
And that's what's been happening. He has been changing a great deal.
Then what is your complaint?
That he's changing, he's becoming more of who I really want to be with, but he's saying that he doesn't want to be with me.
And do you prefer someone in your relationship who says they don't want to be with you?
No.
Then that is something that is outside your preference. And it is a lesson for you to get in touch with the idea of how to unconditionally love yourself and allow your reality to reflect to you by attracting it to you an individual or individuals who would in fact want to interact with you. You follow? But obviously this is bringing up issues for you that are allowing you to get in touch with programmings and things that have been implanted within you since childhood. The reason why you have attracted an individual that you love so much, who appears, strongly underline that word, appears to be rejecting you, is because you have an issue with rejection. And that's what that individual is unconditionally, lovingly helping you to realize. Because that's what you need to work with to become whole. You follow?
Yes.
If that individual did not point that out to you, you would be acting in a relationship in what you typically call a dysfunctional manner, having someone who is only there to reinforce all the things that don't represent the way you actually want to be as a whole person. So it is serving you to have someone do this to you at this time because it's putting you squarely in touch with an issue that you need to integrate in order to become more holistic, and therefore the relationship is working perfectly. Because that's what relationships are for. He is actually being a friend even though he may not know it.
Oh, I know.
And even though you may not know it.
I do know it.
And again, the paradox and the point is that as soon as you allow yourself to get in touch with the energy that is being pointed out to you in that way, it is possible that once there is no longer a reason for that energy to be sent to you that way, because you've integrated it, he might change. But don't expect it. Because again, it won't matter whether it's him or not. The idea is that you will become a more whole vibration. You will thus automatically attract all situations that are more reflective and more representative of the whole vibration you are being. Remember, if you believe negatively that you need someone else in order to be more complete, then you only attract individuals to reflect to you your belief in your incompleteness. It doesn't mean that you cannot learn and grow new ways and new things in a relationship. But the paradox is that you have to allow yourself to know you are whole fundamentally in order to attract someone who can be willing to reflect back to you the willingness to work toward the recognition of that wholeness.
I've known this intellectually. I guess it's not my time to get it experience.
If you have not known it intellectually and experientially both, you have not yet known it. Allow yourself to know you haven't known it, because that will remove a big burden off your shoulders. Thinking that just because you got it intellectually, you are supposed to understand it on all other levels all at once. You know it or you don't know it. And that's all there is to it. And if you don't know it, let it be all right to say, you know, I don't know this. I don't get it yet, but I will. It's all right to not know. Most of you will actually paradoxically find that most of your troubles would vanish overnight if you would just let yourselves be all right with saying, I don't know this stuff. Then you would stop working so hard and thinking that you're supposed to. And then you would just live. And then just by living the experiences you have when you're in that kind of open, honest state would actually allow you to know more than you know. You follow? Is this helpful?
Yes, it is.
To learn to love yourself unconditionally enough to allow what is going on in your life to be all right as it is, so that what is going on in your life as it is can be transformed by you into a way that is more reflective of your knowing self. You understand?
I believe so.
You don't let what is, however it's happening, be all right, be the thing that needs to be happening. Be what it is, and learn from it in the positive way you want to by assigning a positive reality meaning to it, so that regardless of anyone else's intention towards you, the only effect you will get out of it will be the positive impact of the meaning you have assigned to what is going on, because you have to know fundamentally that what is going on is there to help you learn to love yourself as unconditionally as the infinite does. Does this make sense?
Yes, it does.
Remember, again, as was said before, that everything you have just heard, you have said to yourself. You follow?
Mm-hmm.
It's up to you to decide whether you believe it or not. Does that help?
Yes, it does.
One moment. Is there a place that you are most excited to be?
A physical place?
Yes. A location?
I'm not sure. I'm actually at the moment right now looking for a new place to live, and I've been a bit confused as to what I want.
Perhaps because you are not looking in the place that really excites you the most. Is there a place, a position, a locale on your planet that you would rather live?
On the planet?
Is that too big for you?
Well, kind of, because I'm feeling like I'm really focusing in a direction with my acting career, and everything feel like I need to be here.
Here is
In Los
relevant.
Angeles.
The idea is that there are many different realities even in the city that you call your city of angels.
Right.
Are you looking in the area that is reflective of your joy and your preference, or are you, how do you say it, making do?
I've been making do for a while.
Where would you prefer to be? Where do you resonate? Where does your heart, your joy, your creativity resonate?
On a soundstage.
Oh, I think we'll live on a soundstage.
In the theater, you know what I'm asking.
Yes. In terms of what you might call your residence. Is there any particular locale that you prefer in your city of angels more than any other? And are you looking in that locale?
Well, I'm enjoying living in Topanga, and I'm not.
Is that your place of highest excitement?
I don't know where my place. I don't think I've fully known or experienced where.
I see.
You know.
Then we have a homework assignment for you. Take time and enjoy it in the taking. Sit down, a moment of pause, and allow yourself to discover where in the city is the most exciting place. And Be open, without expectation, to allowing yourself to suddenly realize that the place you would find most exciting to live might not fit any of your expectations, but if it is the most exciting, moving in that direction is what will unexpectedly allow you to fulfill anything else in your life that represents your highest joy and excitement. For again, without expectation, many times circumstances and situations that excite you, you don't have to necessarily assume that just because they excite you right now and pull you in a certain direction, that it means any particular thing in terms of how it is that that must ultimately play out just by making that move in that direction. You follow me? So if you find yourself all of a sudden being excited, for example, to go look somewhere even outside the limits of your city, but that really is the most exciting thing, go and take a look. Don't be resistant to the excitement because of your assumption that you can't do that because you think it means that you have to go live there. The fact that you may be being pulled in that direction by your excitement may simply mean that you only have to spend a day being in that energy. And that may all of a sudden, unexpectedly, allow you to run into the most unusual people at the right place and the right time that you never would have met, that may in fact be the easiest path of least resistance and least effort in opening the door to the other things that excite you in life. Because it is excitement that is connected, it is excitement that is representative of your path, not the surface details of what you think are supposed to be connected. Do you follow?
Yes.
Does this help lighten you up a bit?
Yes, yes. I have another question.
Yes.
The vibrational frequency that's been raising in my body.
Yes.
And I find it very difficult to assimilate in my body, and I'm noticing.
That's because there is resistance to yourself.
Right.
Resistance to loving yourself. You are, in that sense, creating a dichotomy. You want to express more who and what you are, but you are afraid to because of how you define the idea that that's connected to pain. Redefine it. You are an actor. Become the part you prefer to play. You are on the stage right now.
Okay.
Lights, camera, action. Cut. That's a wrap. We thank each and every one of you this day of your time for allowing us the beautiful experience of interaction with all and every one. Our unconditional love to each and every one, and we remind you it's your unconditional love that we use to send you. Good day. How did it go?